Dr. Koslowitz, I've heard reference to a term called a trauma-informed classroom. And I made a little mental note that when I had the chance to talk with you, I would have you explain what that is to me. I would just imagine from just the context of the phrase that a lot of what you've brought up here in terms of creating an environment where students feel free to communicate trauma is part of the essence of what a trauma-informed classroom is. Can you tell us more about what that is and how these kind of classrooms can be created?
So I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about trauma-informed classrooms because I think a lot of people think that we're raising a generation of snowflakes and we're not, we're not challenging kids enough. But when you think of trauma, trauma is toxic stress, and it's toxic stress that humans are meant to stress, right? We enjoy positive stress. Like it's fun to like finally master the tricky bars or to like run a race and like, come in third and you really ran your best race. Like we enjoy those experiences, right? This is fun. We like a roller coaster. So what we're looking for in a trauma-informed classroom is we're looking to keep the stress levels at that positive, expected, tolerable level of stress and not at that toxic stress where I'm frozen and I'm terrified and I'm upset. And sometimes it's as simple as what I said before. Like I can just tell my teacher that like this is bringing up memories of grandpa's heart attack and I'm good now. Now I went from toxic stress to normal stress and I'm fine. That toxic frozen stress, we don't want that. So if a child is coming into school and they're still really worried about like, oh no, today's payday, dad's going to come home drunk. How am I handling life? That's not positive stress, that's toxic stress, right? And we want to be able to have a way of keeping stress at that positive level because humans are anti-fragile, right? We benefit from mild levels of adversity, but we want to make sure that the adversity is indeed mild. It's one thing for a child to be in a spelling contest or, to take a challenging test and then feel like I did the best I could. Didn't get that straight A, but I did the best I could. I studied hard. I know a good 90% of this material. I'm proud of myself. That feels good. If a child comes into school and there's a pop quiz and the teacher's like, oh my gosh, you failed. I'm going to hang your F up for the world to see as they did in like the 50s and 60s. That is toxic stress. So we
Hmm.
just want to understand stress and keep stress at the tolerable, manageable level because that's what we grow from, right? It's fabulous to like push yourself. I remember when I taught literature, like asking kids, like, this is actually a bit above your level. This is complex. I'm going to ask you guys to read through the story and think hard, right? For like a moment,
Yeah.
let's think hard about what's going on in this story. I know it's a little above you and I know you can get it.
And so the essence of a trauma-informed classroom is creating an environment in which positive stress can thrive, but this kind of negative stress that just freezes you up and doesn't allow you to reach your full potential is eliminated.
Yeah, to give another example, I had a teacher that I was working with where her students just had tremendous test anxiety. Everything was like, so she would like walk into the room and the kids would be, and she would say, okay, in 2 weeks we're having like a math test. And the kids would like, she would see this frozen, like, and she'd be like, oh my gosh, the anxiety monster has entered the classroom. Everybody, let's hear, what is the anxiety monster saying? And all the kids were like, what if I fail? What if I don't know it? Oh my gosh, this is awful. And then, prediction from 0 to 10, how bad is this test going to be? And then, they did some exercise, like, let's just do some jumping jacks, get all the anxiety out of us. We're still having the test, right? I think that's the key part. Because if we weren't having the test, then you'd be right. We're making snowflakes, but we're still having the test and we're going to deal with like the adrenaline in our bodies. And then she had them do this very simple thing. They predicted how bad the test was going to be. And then after they took the test, they wrote how stressful it actually was. So anxiety was like, it's going to be on a scale of 1 to 10, it's going to be 4,000. And then it was a 4.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so what have we learned? We've learned that even when anxiety yells at us, he exaggerates. That's okay. It's scary and I can do it. That's a trauma-informed classroom.